Welcome to San Diego, California's second largest city, where blue skies keep watch on 70 miles of beaches and a gentle Mediterranean climate begs for a day of everything and nothing. Bordered by Mexico, the Pacific Ocean, the Anza-Borrego Desert, and the Laguna Mountains, San Diego County's 4,200 square miles offer immense options for business and pleasure. This is how San Diego's Tourism Bureau describes itself, evoking an imagery that carefully blends natural wonders, idyllic leisure, and economic possibility. What the description omits, however, is as telling about the act of placemaking as what it includes. The narrative of a place, that is, the image that a place chooses to broadcast to the wider world, implies as well an exclusion of narratives and people. The counter-stories, those that depict the lives of the workers that made and indeed continue to make the image of San Diego, are the very stories that are typically excluded from the conventional narratives because of their tendency to implicate unattractive hierarchies of power. Place, as conceptualized, concretized, and reconstituted, is inherently political. In this presentation, I will explore the ways in which place and landscape are used to construct and maintain a mirror with which marginalized communities see themselves, a mirror that is highly politicized and constantly shifting. In 1970, a small piece of land hidden beneath a freeway and a bridge on-ramp in San Diego became the centerpiece in this ongoing struggle over public space and placemaking. Organizers from the predominantly Chicano neighborhood of Logan Heights in southwest San Diego, victim twice over to the state's power of eminent domain, had laid claim to an expansive government-owned lot and quickly transformed it into a symbol of community empowerment. This act, though, was the culmination of a much older contestation for territory and space. In the early 20th century, the neighborhood was filled with craftsmen and Victorian homes. But as the century progressed, an industry sought space in close proximity to the city's developing harbor and central business district, the neighborhood became home to light industry. Logan Heights' residential charm was indelibly altered, and wealthier residents, displeased with the change, fled to more resplendent parts of San Diego. The changes in land use continued through World War II and well into the 1950s. The older housing stock dating back to the early part of the century fell into disrepair. Vacated lots were steadily transformed for light industrial use, and Logan Heights became home to a disturbing number of ill-sited junkyards. The old neighborhood, so much a part of San Diego's history, had become the backyard of the city's modern industrial growth, but it remained home to the city's Mexican-American community. The 1960s proved to be a tumultuous period for Logan Heights. In 1963, the construction of Interstate 5 tore through the heart of the neighborhood, destroying homes and physically dividing the community along an east-west axis. And then, not but 5 years later, the California Department of Transportation began construction on the Coronado Bridge, yet another thoroughfare that would cut through the heart of Logan Heights. But by this time, the Chicano movement had given a strong political consciousness to many of the neighborhood's residents. Logan Heights was now known to those who lived in it as Barrio Logan. The land was, to its residents, a situated outgrowth of their hopes and struggles, and therefore something to be fought for. There was now a widely felt desire to lay claim to the residual space beneath the bridge's on- and off-ramps and the land adjacent to Interstate 5. After much protesting, picketing, and petitioning, activists and residents of Barrio Logan convinced the state of California, at the time the legal owner of the property, to create a neighborhood park on the land adjacent to Interstate 5 and directly beneath the Coronado Bridge. By the spring of 1970, the city claimed legal title to the land and worked hand in glove with a nonprofit steering committee whose mission was to oversee the development and maintenance of Barrio Logan's newest community open space project, known from that point forward as Chicano Park. By designing a park beneath the on-ramps of a major traffic way, the people of Barrio Logan became ensconced in the process of placemaking. And this effort used the power of art and design, history and politics to recreate this neighborhood. Urban design is often, if not always, connected to power. Whether it is a powerful force issuing design decrees for a space, or community members organizing and demanding design modes that suit their own needs, design does not operate in a political vacuum. Reclamation of land can be, in itself, an act of resistance. By claiming a parcel of land, institutionally neglected and ignored communities proclaim their existence, assert their demands, and challenge power structures. By reclaiming and transforming spaces, communities, such as that in Barrio Logan, take firm hold of land and make clear that only democratic and empowering uses will be considered acceptable. Thus, we find in the case of Chicano Park not simply a reclamation of land for a community, but the transformation of that land by the community. The artwork that has given definition to Chicano Park grew directly from the struggle for the park itself. As such, it is imbued with a decidedly political meaning. I have developed a four-point typology into which all the mural work falls. Firstly, indigenous themes, harkening back to our pre-colonial past, link the park to one of the larger ideological thrusts of the Chicano movement of the 1960s and 70s. From Mayan design motifs to murals of Aztec warrior kings, visual retrospectives play a central role in Chicano Park's design of resistance. International themes link the struggles of the barrio residents to the struggles of people of color internationally. Nationalist themes link the largely Chicano neighborhood to the political past and present of Mexico and are to be found throughout the park. Images of Emiliano Zapata are the muralists' attempt to at once relate the struggles of Chicano residents to those of their ancestors, as well as generate a historiography that links Chicano residents directly to Mexico. Placemakers, or murals connected to the immediate needs and hopes of the community, are to be found on pillars at the entrances to the park. Some inform visitors that they have entered Barrio Logan. Others proclaim a desire to connect Chicano Park to the San Diego Bay. And still others stake a declarative claim to the land itself, declaring La Tierra Mía, or my land. The struggle for Chicano Park certainly did not end in 1970. The community of Barrio Logan and the users of the park face innumerable obstacles and dangers to this day. With the revitalization of San Diego Central City, rebranded as the historic core, comes the threat of gentrifying neighboring low-income neighborhoods such as Barrio Logan. The development of the San Diego Padres' new ballpark has only exacerbated outward pressures of gentrification. Despite all these pressures, though, the steering committee and the residents of Barrio Logan remain committed to the legacy of Chicano Park. In the past 3 years, activists have used the park as a staging ground to organize May Day immigration rights protests in the city of San Diego. In the past decade, the neighborhood's Community Development Corporation has built several low and middle income apartment complexes that aim to keep current residents in Barrio Logan. And currently, the same CDC broke ground on a mercado, with the specific intent of providing space for resident businesses. In each instance, the park, in its symbolic meaning, has been central to achieving empowerment and profoundly altering the socio-political relations in San Diego. While the Latino community has certainly been adversely affected by policies of social and political exclusion, the symbol of the park has acted as a counterpoint to such structural domination. Chicano Park, then, can be defined as being a radical act insofar as it constitutes not simply reclamation of space, but a reordering of social structures, albeit on a very localized level. After 4 decades of struggle, Chicano Park remains to be a space of resistance.